Africa, a name that evokes powerful imagery of cultural diversity, stunning landscapes, and rich history. But what did people call this continent before the name Africa emerged? Today, we explore the fascinating origins of Africa's ancient names and the stories behind them. Get ready for an eye-opening journey. The name Alkebulan is often regarded as one of the oldest names for Africa. Its meaning, Mother of Mankind or Garden of Eden, symbolizes the continent's role as the cradle of human civilization. The term Alkebulan is said to have originated from ancient African languages, though its exact linguistic roots remain debated. Scholars suggest it was used by early inhabitants to reflect the continent's nurturing environment and its foundational role in human evolution. The earliest human fossils, such as the 3.2-million-year-old Lucy, Australopithecus afarensis, found in Ethiopia, support the idea of Africa as humanity's birthplace. The Great Rift Valley is often referred to as the geological womb of humanity for this reason. Though the name Alkebulan is not widely documented in ancient texts, many Afrocentric scholars emphasize its significance as a symbol of pre-colonial African identity. Today, some African historians and cultural movements advocate for the revival of the name Alkebulan as a way to reclaim Africa's heritage and reject colonial impositions. In the northeast of the continent, the land now known as Egypt was once called Kemet, meaning the Black Land. This name referred to the fertile black soil deposited by the annual flooding of the Nile River. Ancient Egyptians distinguished Kemet from Deshret, the Red Land, which referred to the surrounding deserts. This duality symbolized life and death, fertility and barrenness, and shaped the Egyptians' worldview. The name Kemet is well documented in Egyptian hieroglyphs. For example, the Rosetta Stone, discovered in 1799, provided translations of Egyptian texts, including references to Kemet. Egypt's rich cultural influence spread far beyond its borders, inspiring neighboring civilizations and establishing Africa as a hub of knowledge, science, and spirituality. The Kingdom of Kush, located south of Egypt in present-day Sudan, adopted and adapted Egyptian cultural practices. The Kushites even ruled Egypt during the 25th dynasty, showcasing the interconnectedness of African civilizations. The name Ethiopia originates from the ancient Greek word Ethiops, meaning land of the burnt faces. This term was used to describe the dark-skinned people inhabiting regions south of Egypt. Ancient Greek writers like Homer and Herodotus frequently mentioned Ethiopia as a land of great civilization and wealth. Herodotus described the Ethiopians as a people of remarkable stature and beauty, emphasizing their distinction in the ancient world. Ethiopia was often depicted in Greek mythology as a land favored by the gods. For instance, the Greek hero Perseus saved Andromeda, the Ethiopian princess, in one of the myths. Unlike many African regions, Ethiopia retained its sovereignty during the scramble for Africa. The Battle of Adwa in 1896 saw Ethiopian forces, led by Emperor Menelik II, decisively defeat the Italian army, a historic moment of African resistance. Ethiopia remains a symbol of African pride and resilience. Its capital, Addis Ababa, hosts the African Union's headquarters, reaffirming its role in continental unity. For the Greeks and Romans, the northern part of Africa was often called Libya. This name, derived from the Berber word Libu, originally referred to a specific tribe but later encompassed the broader region. In ancient Greek mythology, Libya was personified as a beautiful woman and was said to be the mother of Belus, the ancestor of the Egyptian and Ethiopian peoples. This myth symbolized the region's importance in ancient Mediterranean culture. Greek historian Herodotus described Libya as one of the three divisions of the known world, alongside Europe and Asia, His accounts provide early insights into the diverse cultures inhabiting North Africa. The Berbers, indigenous to North Africa, played a significant role in shaping the region's history. The city of Carthage, founded by the Phoenicians, became a major power in ancient Libya before being defeated by Rome. While names like Alkebulan and Kemet dominated the northern and eastern regions, southern Africa presents a different story. Here, ancient African societies didn't have a singular name for the entire continent. Instead, their names reflected their immediate environments, cultural identities, and spiritual beliefs. The Bantu peoples, renowned for their migration across sub-Saharan Africa, played a pivotal role in shaping the cultural and linguistic landscape of southern Africa. But did they ever refer to Africa as Bantu? For the Bantu, identity revolved around their clans and regions. The term Bantu itself means people. However, they didn't apply this term to the entire continent. Bantu groups named territories based on their features or their cultural connections. For example, the Zulu called their homeland KwaZulu, place of the Zulu, while others, like the Xhosa, identified their lands by their lineage and traditions. Ancient texts from Greek and Arab traders referred to southern Africa as part of Azania or Zanj. Though these names weren't used by the locals, they reflect how outsiders perceived the region during their explorations. The Khoisan peoples, comprising the Khoi and the San, are among the oldest inhabitants of southern Africa, with a history stretching back tens of thousands of years. For them, the land was a source of life and spirituality. The Khoisan did not have a unified name for Africa. Instead, they focused on naming specific landmarks, such as rivers, mountains, and plains. The Khoisan believed in the sacredness of the land. Their rock art often depicted animals, hunting scenes, and spiritual rituals, showcasing their deep respect for nature. Unlike the northern regions influenced by centralized kingdoms like Egypt or Ethiopia, southern Africa's diverse tribes and decentralized societies didn't have a need for a unified name for the continent. Their focus was on immediate regions, practical landmarks, and cultural identity. While the term Alkebulan has been suggested as a name for the entire continent, some scholars argue that West Africans may have been among those who used it to describe their homeland. However, this name was more likely to be a unifying philosophical or spiritual concept, emphasizing the life-giving role of the land. The transition to the name Africa began during Roman times. Following their conquest of Carthage in 146 BCE, the Romans named the region Africa Proconsularis, likely derived from the Berber word Ifri, meaning cave, or the Phoenician word Afar, meaning dust. As European powers explored and colonized the continent, they extended the name to the entire landmass. By the 15th century, maps consistently referred to the continent as Africa. The oldest surviving map showing the name Africa is the 1507 Wald-C Muller map, which also famously introduced the name America. While the name Africa is widely accepted today, it is important to recognize that it reflects a colonial perspective. Many modern African movements emphasize the need to reconnect with indigenous names and identities. Names are more than just labels. They are reflections of history, identity, and power. By exploring the ancient names of Africa, Alkebulan, Kemet, Ethiopia, and Libya, we honor the continent's rich heritage and its enduring legacy. Which name resonates with you the most? Should Africa reclaim one of these ancient names? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more deep dives into untold histories. This is AfriEye,